Okay, I think I'm up and running here. This is an exercise. This is 6-8, and it's allocating service department cost. Okay, so we're allocating these three service departments, S1, S2, and S3. We're going to allocate those costs to these two production departments, P1 and P2. Okay, now our allocation base is going to be number of employees. Okay, so all we're going to do is take some ratios based on number of employees, okay, and allocate these costs accordingly. All right, so it's not very difficult to do. This is called the direct method. Okay, now what I want you to what I want to make clear here is the direct method. When you're allocating based on number of employees, you notice I just looked at I'm just looking at these two. Okay, we're not concerned with the number of employees in the service departments. There's other methods, one that's called the step method that uses the number of employees in the service departments, but the direct method does not. Okay, so what we're going to do first down here is just get our number of employees for each department. Let me bring up my keyboard. All right, so the number of employees here will make this equal to Department 1, 150, okay? And in Department 2 is equal to 225, all right? Total number of employees, again, it's just the total number of employees in these two production departments. So we're not considering the service departments. Okay, so 150 plus 225, and do the same thing here, equals 150 plus 225. Okay? So then, what do we do next? Get the percentage. Everybody's nodding. I can see a bunch of bright, shining eyes. Everybody understands what's going on, so I'm not going to call on anybody. Okay, we'll just do the percent. So this is going to equal 150 divided by 375. We get 40%. Total employees for Department 1 and for Department 2. Oops, okay. Didn't bring it down just... That's not going. There it goes. 60%. Lauren's asking, did I do 150 divided by 375 for this first one? Yes, I did. Double click on that. You can see it highlighted 150 divided by 375. And then for Production Department 2, it's 225 divided by 375. Okay. I need to hit my escape button. I forgot I was going to bring my wireless keyboard from home and try it out here to see if I could just stand in front of the board the whole time. Okay, so now we got our percentages. Okay, so the next part is really pretty straightforward. Direct allocation is really very easy. We've got our amounts here for Service Department 1. We'll make that equal to 3 million. Okay, and oops. Service Department 2, Service Department 3, I'm just bringing down. Okay, and then I'll just total those. So I got 6 million to allocate. Okay, so I want to put those costs into my production departments. Okay, so for Service Department 1, how am I going to do that? Seth, can you walk me through that? How am I going to do, how much of this Service Department 1, that 3 million, is going to Production Department 1? How am I going to calculate that? See, now what was the purpose of this percent that I did up here? Yeah, so I'm using my employees as a base. So this determines the percent of employees, okay? So I'm using employees as a base, so that means 40% of service department costs are going to go to production department 1. Times 40%. I've already got the 40% in there, so I'm going to multiply 40% times 3 million. Okay, so it's really a very simple calculation. Okay, and then for service department 2 going to production department 1, I'll just follow the same setup. It's going to be 40% times 2 million. Okay, and then to allocate the 1 million from the third service department, that's going to be equal to 40% times 1 million. Okay. And so my total allocated to production department 1 is 2.4 million. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, to finish this out then, these guys have finished theirs, and I'm just going to do it right here. It's going to be 60%. Now I'm going to do this quickly, so I'm going to put an anchor in this one. And that's going to be times 3 million, and times 2 million, and times 1 million. So we get 3.6 million. Okay. Okay. Now you got a homework problem similar to this. I think it's problem 6.4, where you're allocating service department costs. A couple of things that I want to point out in allocating service department cost. What this is called is the direct method. Okay. That means there's no allocation from one service department to the next. Okay. Think about it. For instance, if you had food services as a service department, well, the people that are in another service department, like duplicating, they would eat. Okay, and they would probably require janitorial services. All right, this is a simplified system that it's saying that this interdepartment cost is not material, as long as it all gets allocated. It's all going to be allocated from the service departments to the production departments in the end result anyway. Okay, there is another method that we're not going to cover in here, but those of you that are going on in accounting should be aware of. It's called the step method. The step method does have interdepartmental service costs. What it does is it lines up the service departments by their order of importance, or by the one that provides the most service, and then you would take this service department, for instance, and allocate it to these 4 departments. Okay, and once you did that, then you'd be left with 4 departments, and then you would take this department, allocate it to the other 3. Okay, and then the third step, you would take this final service department that would have the other 2 service departments allocated to it, and then allocate it to the production departments. Okay. There's another method that uses simultaneous equations to allocate the cost, which for most purposes is way too precise, because these are based on estimates anyway. The direct method is a very popular way of allocating. Yes, Brad, a question?
Since you're going like food service by number of employees, why can't you just divide that evenly among all the departments?
That's okay. The question is, let's say one of these is food services, like this one. Why can't you just divide that evenly among all the employees? That's good. All right, it's a good question, and it is done in the step method. So you have to understand what the point of this is. The point of our allocation, see, we're trying to figure out the full cost of these products or services in the production departments. And in order to do that, we have to allocate all of these costs, all of these service department costs to these two production departments, okay? So if we do, say, allocate food services to these other service departments, we'll have to reallocate that cost. So we're allocating the cost, those service department costs twice. Okay, does that answer your question? Okay, good question. That's the basic difference between the direct method and the step method and reciprocal methods. Yes?
If everything is allocated back to the product departments in the end, doesn't it end up being the same?
Question is, if everything gets allocated to the production departments in the end, doesn't it end up being the same? It would vary. The amount that's allocated to separate production departments would differ somewhat. The total amount being allocated would be the same, but the amount allocated to, say, production department 1 and production department 2 might vary. And the reason people would choose the direct method over those other two is if that difference is not material. Okay? Sometimes we can be more precise than we need to be. Okay, good question. All right, I'm going to stop this and give this a chance.